You know that feeling when you wake up, your body is on autopilot, you've done this exact routine for, 5,000 days now? You tell yourself it's all good, it's security, it's a good salary, it's stability. But as you're just lying there staring at the ceiling, there's this feeling, this little paradox you just can't shake.
And that feeling? That's not just you. It's not a coincidence at all. It's actually by design. And today we're going to pull back the curtain and break down exactly why this happens. We're going to talk about a system I call the salary trap.
And here's the thing you've got to understand right from the start. Getting caught in this trap isn't some kind of personal failure. Nope, it's a very sophisticated, very effective system. But the good news is, once you can see how it works, you can start to take it apart. So let's dive in. Okay, so to really get how this trap works, let's walk through a little case study. We'll call her Sarah. She's 34, she makes a really great salary. On paper, you'd think she feels rich, but she really doesn't. So, Sarah gets paid every 2 weeks. After all the taxes are taken out, this is what hits her bank account: $2,458. Now that feels like a pretty solid chunk of money, right? That should be plenty for 2 weeks. But here's where the design of the trap is just so clever. See, the system doesn't just give Sarah her money and say, "Okay, what do you want to do with this?" Instead, it immediately slices it up and sends it out through dozens of invisible channels before she even gets a chance to think about it. The rent, the car payment, groceries, utilities, they all get their slice of the pie first. And after all those pieces are automatically taken, this is what Sarah actually has left. $48 for 2 whole weeks. Now think about that. She's got a nice apartment, a reliable car, she feels successful. But financially, she's basically running on empty. This right here is the trap's first and most powerful weapon. It creates this illusion of prosperity. The system gives you just enough comfort, just enough stuff to keep you from asking the really dangerous question: why am I not actually building any wealth? See, when money comes in as one big number but leaves in 100 tiny little cuts, your brain never quite registers that you're just treading water. All right, so if that fragmentation is how the trap hooks you, lifestyle inflation is how it keeps you. This is the part of the system that makes sure that even when your income goes up, your freedom doesn't. I bet this cycle looks pretty familiar. You get that good job, so you can finally afford that nicer car. Then you get a promotion. Hey, time to move into that bigger apartment. Each pay raise feels like a win, like you're moving forward. But in reality, with each step, the trap just gets a little bit tighter, locking you into a more expensive lifestyle that absolutely requires your next paycheck. And this brings us to the absolute core of a huge misunderstanding we all have about money. A $200,000 salary, that's income. It's a temporary stream of cash. And the moment you stop working, it stops coming. $50,000 in investments? Now that's wealth. It's a permanent asset that works for you day and night. The salary trap is designed to keep your eyes fixed only on the left side of this slide. And all of this, it leads to this feeling that's, it's kind of inescapable. It's what people call the golden handcuffs. You know, that feeling of being paid really well, but being completely, utterly unable to walk away because your entire life is built on that next paycheck. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. We'll call him David. He was making 6 figures in tech, but he was absolutely miserable. And every single time he even thought about quitting, he'd get this knot in his stomach. Why? Because he had the big mortgage, 2 car payments, kids in private school. His obligations had expanded to perfectly match his high income. He was trapped. Then one day, David got a $20,000 raise. He was so relieved, he thought, finally, I've won, I've got some breathing room. But then, life happens, right? The mortgage adjusted, his kid needed braces, they decided to get a new car. And just like that, as you can see here, his level of financial stress didn't go down one bit. It stayed exactly the same. So here's the takeaway. This is so important. Your freedom has almost nothing to do with how much you make. Your freedom is determined by one thing: the size of the gap between what you earn and what you spend. And the entire system is engineered to keep that gap as tiny as possible. And when you look at the actual numbers, it's honestly staggering. Over 60% of professionals couldn't maintain their current lifestyle for more than one single month if their paychecks suddenly stopped. Think about that. You could be just 30 days away from a full-blown financial crisis. So let's just call it what it is. That feeling isn't security. It's a prison. Yeah, it's a very comfortable prison for sure, with nice cars and vacations, but it's a prison nonetheless. And you are not the one holding the keys. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty bleak, but here's the most important part of this whole conversation.
This is not your destiny. It's not a law of nature. Once you see the system for what it is, you can start building your escape plan.
The very first step, and honestly, it's the biggest one, is just a mental shift. It's realizing that your salary isn't designed to make you rich. It's designed to keep you just comfortable enough and just busy enough that you never have the time or energy to become rich. And once you see that, you can never unsee it.
So what do we actually do about it? Here it is. This is the practical, 4-step plan to start dismantling the trap. First, stop confusing income with wealth. They are not the same thing. Second, you have to actively attack the gap. Make it your mission to widen that space between what you earn and what you spend. Third, you redirect every spare dollar from that gap into assets that work for you. And fourth, and this is the key to everything, you build optionality.
Now, optionality, what is that? It's just a fancy word for one thing: power, real power. The moment you have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses saved up in the bank, the entire game changes. You are no longer trapped. You can negotiate harder at work. You can take a calculated risk on a new idea. You can walk away from a bad situation. You have options.
So, I'm going to leave you with a question, and I want you to be really honest with yourself about the answer. If you walked out of your job tomorrow, for whatever reason, how many months could you actually survive? Your answer to that question, that's the real measure of how much freedom you have right now.
Because look, at the end of the day, the real goal isn't just to earn more money so you can buy more stuff. That's just a faster hamster wheel. The real goal is independence. It's that feeling of freedom that washes over you the moment you realize you don't need that next paycheck. That is when you've truly escaped the trap.